Next, I'm inviting to the stage someone that I have known for 21 years. And so her name is Stephanie Dawn. And Stephanie Dawn is a Radiant Living Priestess supporting the spiritual, emotional, physical, and financial transformation of healthy women and families living in a toxic world. She healed breast cancer naturally and is the mother of 2 teenage boys. And you will learn more at stephaniedawn.com, and you will have the opportunity to experience my dear friend Stephanie Dawn. We're going to bring her to the stage. Put your hands together. Stephanie.
Good morning, Wendy Silvers.
Good morning. I'm so happy that you are here with us. You look so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Look at that. Look at that background. Oh my gosh. The environment that you are in is so lush and beautiful.
Yes, I live in a forest. It's green everywhere I look. And today it's actually warm, which is awesome.
Wow, what a treat. Yeah. Right? What a treat.
LA weather in Washington State.
Nice. Very nice. Where you're going to have to go out and get all naked and lay in the sun and let the sun like bake you. So Stephanie and I have, as I said, known each other for 21 years, and we have played so many different roles within each other's lives. And one thing that I've always observed about you, Steph, is this awareness of your self-worth and your value as a woman, as a contributor. Will you say more about that from the space of a girl growing up and how you became the woman that is in touch with that?
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question. And I was pondering it this morning as I was imagining being here with you today. So, I came into this world as a very optimistic human being and, just really positive, really loving, really warm. And then I got, a lot of people questioning me, doubting what I was saying, making me wrong, really like coming up against myself, as a young woman. And honestly, Wendy, it really wasn't until I arrived at the doorsteps of the Agape International Spiritual Center that the sort of my positivity, my eternal optimist, my love of self and love of life and the planet and people was reflected back to me by Reverend Michael and all of the beautiful ministers there. And I was able to really drop the mistaken notions or senses of self that I'd taken on that weren't the truth. And I was able to fall back into the truth of really knowing who I am and knowing that I'm a magnificent being. I mean, Reverend Michael said to me, I'll never forget this. I think of it often, actually, years back, like we're talking some 20 years ago, actually, when we first met. I'm there at church with my mom. And he says to me in front of my mom, she's destined for greatness.
Perfect.
And I was like, well, alrighty then. And so, when you have a mentor, someone that, is this powerful presence in my life back then as Reverend Michael, and I know he is in your life too, saying that to you in front of your mother's never said that to you. My mother had never said that to me. My father had never said that to me.
Right.
But my spiritual leader said that to me, and I agreed with him. So, well, why not, right, Wendy? Because I'd fallen into agreement with all these misguided notions of self for many years. I was questioning myself and doubting myself. I mean, we're raised in a world, in a culture in which that's very common, right? And here's Reverend Michael going, you got it going on. You're destined for greatness. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna take that charge and I'm gonna run with it. I mean, I didn't know if that was the truth or not, but I was like, I did, and here we are.
Well, I really love what you're sharing. It also speaks to like what the other women were saying and Danny about that piece that we don't receive necessarily from our childhoods,
Yeah.
and how the spiritual teacher comes forward. And what I hear underneath that is vision. What he did was he implanted an affirmative vision within your consciousness. And so, what people may or may not know about a vision is that you catch the vision and then you live into the vision.
Yeah.
So, just because you get it doesn't mean, oh, it's done. I mean, I could, right? Would you
Yeah.
concur?
Yeah, no, you gotta catch the vision, you gotta live the vision. And then, over time, you're aware of human design, right, Wendy? So I'm a projector, right? And projectors are visionaries. And this took a really long time for me to own that.
Mm-hmm.
Had other people call me that, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. you know? And then the time came where I started going, oh yeah, I am a visionary. Like I see realities, I see worlds that don't exist yet. And I
Yeah.
work to help people see it, get there, live it, whatever the way that I'm, whether it's in a group or one-on-one. Yeah. Facebook.
I that's so powerful because it's so helpful to have somebody see for ourselves. It reminds me of a slogan that I heard is, we love you until you can love yourself.
Yeah.
And so a vision, when you have someone like yourself who holds that space for other people, then you hold that till they can see that for themselves. And then it's also your own charge to see your own vision. Something that has been so profound for me is watching you move through this journey of healing cancer naturally. Will you speak to that? Because really, that's like, that covers the embodying your influence, your power, your inner authority. I would love for you to share with the women and moms here about what it is like to take your power
Mm-hmm,
in
mm-hmm.
that regard.
Yeah. So again, this does go back to really comprehending and, living from this place of understanding my own spiritual authority and, activating that in the face of a cancer diagnosis, right? Because I have had women sort of look at me jaw dropped and go, how? Why? Like they're just like in awe. And I'm like, well, I'd spent all these years really understanding my life as a channel and, as sort of this vessel for spirit to have its way as me.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I let cancer have dominion over me when nothing can have dominion over me but the Holy Spirit?
Mm-hmm.
So that sort of dropped in. There was a little bit of fear at the start
Right.
because, hello, the culture is all about fear, right? And bald heads and sallow and, oh, she died, right? It's like, oh, Jesus, what's going on here, right? Well,
Yeah.
I say Jesus's name, like legitimately, like I had to go to God, to Jesus, to Spirit, um, to remember who I am
Right.
and, get thee behind me, cancer. So, and my vision immediately was to do it in an alternative way. It was not the road for me to go down the traditional path of chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery. And in retrospect, my current naturopath, she has determined, and who knows what's true at this point, but she said, I think you were misdiagnosed stuff. And I said, well, really? She says, yeah, what I get that you have is cystic hyperplasia and benign fibroadenoma of the breast, which is basically, there's fibroids in your breast, like there's dense breasts. And so misdiagnoses happen every day, Wendy. And my research over the years has really shown me that so many people fear the alternative path, but
Mm-hmm.
that's because they don't understand the body, number one.
Right.
And when you start to understand the body, when you start to understand the immune system and the purposes of the blood and the lymphatic system,
Mm,
is become, my mom at one point, she was like, aren't you tired of reading about cancer all the time? And I'm like, actually, Mom, what I'm learning about is health,
mm,
how to be healthy, and how to heal the body in the appearance of cancer.
right.
So it's like, when, if God is my life, then that's the truth. And if I in and of my small self, my dietary choices, my relationships, my work, created an environment where cancer could thrive, then I, in and of my grander self, connected to the Holy Spirit, can absolutely create a new terrain where cancer cannot thrive. And that's what I've done. That's what I've done. Thank you,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. You have done that. What you have done to observe what you have done, right? So you have made, you know how that old phrase, it's you're doing it for life, not for death. Like it's scared that it's like it brought the life out of you, right?
Yeah, it really did.
Yeah.
It really did. A cancer diagnosis. So I've never been one to have existential angst, Wendy. Like,
I
oh,
know.
what, I mean, yes, I do want to know what is the meaning of life, and I will always want to know what is the meaning of life. But I've never been one to say, should I stay or should I go? Like, I've always been like, I'm here, let's do this, it's on, and just really grabbing life by the horns and really running with it. And with the cancer diagnosis, like, it really threw so much into a disarray for me in terms of, do I want to stay or go? Like, what is really happening here? And I realized that just because, I mean, you're aware, Wendy's been my practitioner for many years now, just everyone, and my prayer warrior, my dear friend, and so she knows a lot about my personal life, and so I have, you know, I've climbed some really tall mountains, and been really deep in the valley, and it's been a journey, and so I think part of what I, came in with is that, and Reverend Michael reflected this back to us. It's like, you fall down, you get back up again. Like, that's what a practitioner does, right? We fall down, we get back up again. And so you've seen me when, like, I've got that fighting spirit,
Yes.
right? It's like, oh, no, 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 this can't stand. Whether we're talking about cancer, whether we're talking about health freedom, whether we're talking about, all the things, sacred, the sanctity of birth, all those things that that I'm so passionate about. So I don't know if that answered your question, but
It did. And what I also want to acknowledge is not only are you passionate about that, but you also shine the light. I mean, we have done many things together to really bring awareness so that we can engender critical thinking in a climate that weaponizes and wants to shut the lid on critical thinking. And right. And
yeah,
so here you are, this warrior, and this stand as a beacon of like, no, 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 no. I don't think I'm going to go down that road of radiation, chemotherapy, surgery. I'm
no,
going to go over here
yeah,
and I'm going to explore this. And your inner wisdom, your divine knowing led you to led you to different options that you chose, but led you to a naturopath who confirmed, Steph, I think you've been misdiagnosed. And it is so, it's so shocking to me that so many people, when just like we were talking about fear, I was just talking about fear with Danny, right?
mhm,
This concept of an entire world being hijacked by fear,
mhm,
whether it's about health and medical freedom, whether it's about cancer, and
right,
you stepped out of the matrix. You
yeah,
said, I see you, I
yeah,
hear you,
yeah,
I'm going to go this way. I'm
Yeah.
going to find what works for me.
Yeah. I'm going to choose love. I'm going to choose life. And to me, chemotherapy, radiation, and, you know, they did not represent love and life to me.
Right.
They did represent death to me.
Right.
And so I have this question in my mind all the time. You hear, oh, she died of cancer, or she died of breast cancer. I'm like, did she, or did she die of the treatments?
Right. Wow. That's very provocative. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I ask that question all the time. Because, you know, iatrogenesis, Wendy, is the third leading cause of death in the United States.
And
And
can you say to people what that is?
yeah, death by medicine, death by doctor. So, you know, we live in a medical paradigm where the third leading cause of death is caused by medical malpractice, you name it, right? Doctor mistake. And so here's what we need to just clarify for a moment here for everyone. Medicine is an art. Medicine is an art. And there are fine artists in medicine, and there are charlatans in medicine. And so, you know, understanding and deferring to our own inner authority, our own discernment
Right.
about what resonates and what feels like that wholehearted yes, that's key when it comes to anything medical, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, bodily autonomy, sovereignty.
Yeah.
When I think about, I dialogued with Megan Smith, the director of the film Boobs,
Mm.
and she spoke similarly to what you were saying about the misdiagnosis. And she also went on to add that the radiation in the mammograms can activate cancer cells, as well as biopsies can trigger that.
Yes, yes. I had 3 biopsies, and in retrospect, I wish I hadn't even had one. So I did go into that allopathic swirl at Cedars-Sinai in Los Angeles very briefly, and then, you know, I headed to Mexico.
I know you did. You headed to Mexico.
Headed to Mexico.
Um,
Yeah.
so it feels to me like you've had a lifetime inside of a lifetime.
Yeah, a few lifetimes
A
inside of a
few
lifetime.
lifetimes. Me too.
Yeah, yeah.
So, what would be your invitation to women and moms who are with us and watching the archive
Right.
about embodying your power, your influence, and your inner authority? I'm
Mhm.
gonna take some water.
Sure, yeah, please do. You've been talking a lot. So, well, I have to come back to the spiritual walk, because the spiritual walk, the spiritual work, the spiritual practice informs everything in life. It informs how I relate to myself, how I relate to my children, how I relate to my family, how I show up on the social networks, everything, right? And it's it's just vital. I feel, in order to um, feel that sense of yes, I know myself. I know myself, and I know God, so I know myself. Like, I am the vessel for God.
Yeah.
So I think that ability to tune into the books that, you know, feed that in you, the teachers, the ministers that feed you, like, that has been you know, a total godsend for me. Leaning into you, leaning into various other mentors in my life when I'm low and I forget who I am.
Mm,
Because we all do. We all forget who we are.
yeah.
But the beauty of, you know, the 58 years is I forget who I am less than I did when I was in my 20s and 30s, right? And I can course correct a lot faster when I do get off track. I know what to do. Like, I know what the wisdom states that I want to generate, or, you know, if I really am lost, and I can reach out to someone and ask for a prayer or help or counsel or what have you, energy healing. So I think that it's okay to ask for help. That's been a huge one for me. And I think that was really the turning point with the cancer, is I'd always really seen myself as a thoroughly modern Millie. Like, I got it going on. Like, I don't need anybody. Like I'm really strong. I'm really powerful. I've got it going on. And I was like, oh shit, no, I need help.
Mm.
I actually really do need help. And so I went from that more masculine state. Oh, it's Mochi. To hi Mochi. To the more feminine state of receiving, right? And really opening up to that which was coming forth for me, because whoa, when I told people I had cancer, it was like, look out. Everybody was there for me. Everybody was there for me. And speaking of fear, there was a lot of people that were very afraid for me and were projecting their fear all over me. And well, you know what we do with that, Wendy? We transmute it, we transform it, right? So, cancer, living through COVID, it's like, bye-bye fear, rejecting the fear, in embracing, embodying love over and over and over. And it's a practice. It's a total spiritual practice to live on this world and to be anchored in love.
Mm.
Yeah. 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 And it's
So
it's my
powerful.
work, it's your work, it's all of our work, right? It's the work of the mother,
Yes.
constantly the work for me as a mother with my two teenagers. Yeah.
So profound. Many years ago, someone told me that cancer is a form of self-hatred.
Oh, yeah. Let's go there. Can we?
Yes.
Yes. So, um, I mentioned moments ago that we've been raised in a culture of self-doubt and, questioning ourselves, right? And when I say we, I mean women. Let's be very clear here. All right. And what we see is a misogynistic world, a world that hates women. They might not come right out and say it, but their actions, that's what is shown, right?
Mhm.
And so what happens for us as women raised in that environment was not even conscious. We adopt inherent misogyny,
Mhm.
self-hating
Mhm.
shows up inherently. And I would go so far as to say, because I'm all about Mary Magdalene, I have been for a long time,
Right.
Mary Magdalene was the favorite apostle of Jesus, the Christ, uh, declared by the other apostles, right? She was his consort. And yet she's been denigrated for how many years now as a prostitute? And so when
Centuries.
yeah, right? So
Centuries.
so when you have the one and only major, not one and only, but she's up there, right? Figure in our world, our predominantly Christian world, who is denigrated as a prostitute, there's been no role models for us, right? So this deep inquiry into the work of Mary Magdalene has been really profound for me, the Magdalene path and lineage, because that's a reclaiming of our magnificence, of our beauty, of the miraculous nature of what it means to be a woman, what it means to be able to give birth to children. There is no greater gift if that's what you choose to do, right? Like the biggest gift I've ever experienced was birthing my babes. And it's Jasper's 19th birthday tomorrow, Wendy Silvers. Yeah. When I gave birth to him in that little house, 606 Indiana, Venice Beach, California, I remember sitting outside on the grass with several family members, friends, what have you. And I remember thinking, whoa, I could die now. I've really lived. This birth thing, this is living.
You're so alive.
Yes. So alive, so alive. Yeah, it was
Mm,
awesome. So awesome.
exquisite.
Yeah.
So exquisite. I would love to have a longer dialogue with you about that, the internalized misogyny, and what is the climate that the young ones are growing up in around that. But
Let's
we'll
do it.
save that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's do it.
we'll save that for another another lengthy dive,
Yeah.
because it's really it's a real thing. It is a real thing that we're witnessing.
Yeah. Yeah. And the onus is on us to transform that. You know, we are the ones we've been waiting for. Nobody else is going to do it. We have to be the ones that do it. And I guess, Wendy, I really feel a responsibility in that regard.
Yeah.
I really feel responsibility when I feel truth or read truth or experience it. I will, weave it into how I'm coaching, how I'm, mentoring, how I'm consulting, how I'm sharing on the social media. Like I feel responsibility to be the voice for the other world that many don't believe is possible, but that I know is possible. Because I've touched it, I've felt the truth, I've touched that truth in my being. And we know when we touch truth, like it's unmistakable,
Yes.
right? So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. I just take that in and with a very reverent
Mm,
yes, because I absolutely, I'm with you. Thank you. Thank you for thank you for answering that call, because as Reverend Michael has said, the bush is always burning.
mhm.
Moses was having a good day, right? Like it's the all are called,
Yeah.
and there's only certain ones that answer. No judgment, no blame, and no shame.
Yeah.
Just an acknowledgement, right? Everyone is doing what is in alignment for them,
Yeah.
and we honor that. So, do you have a gift for our attendees?
Yeah, so it's interesting timing. I have a couple gifts actually.
Oh, good.
Well, yeah, so you can go to my website, stephaniedon.com, and get the 10 keys to optimize your radiant health and wealth. Because I am a stand, Wendy, for health freedom, and I'm also a stand for wealth sovereignty, regardless of what's in your bank account. And so, underneath both of those sort of umbrellas, I'm doing a spring sale for Mother's Day where I'm offering 20% off of working with me. So if you go to
Mm.
stephaniedon.com and you go to /health or /wealth, you can choose which pathway you're most interested in. We didn't really get to talk about my business coaching, but it's it's a part of me. It's a part of how I help and serve in this world. And yeah, and so those are my gifts. I really feel like we as women, we got to be healthy, we got to be wealthy in order to change the world that we're living in.
Uh,
And so, yeah, so I'm all about that. And I'm all about helping women get there. So, yeah, thank you so much, Wendy. It's so beautiful to be in conversation with you. I cherish it whenever we have this chance. So, God bless you for bringing this forward and all the women that will benefit.
Thank you so much, Steph. I'm so happy that you are here and that you continue to share your wisdom. And I carry you in my heart always. So
Mm,
it's a joy. It's such a joy. And I will make sure everyone has access to your website. I know that we have it on the speaker bios, which has been dropped into the chat. And those that are watching on the private stream on YouTube, we'll make sure that it's dropped there as well. So thank you, my dear Stephanie Dawn. Mwah.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
Wendy.
much.
I
Yes.
love you. Happy Mother's Day.
You too. Happy Mother's Day. Yes. Thank you.